without pressing go live. That was the issue. I was just looking at the preview. Okay, we're generating this, and I'm really sorry, but I forgot to press one last button before going live, so I've been talking with myself for a while. I need to go back, but I saved you probably a little bit of time in terms of setup, because I had some issues with Git. So this is what I have done so far. Okay, let me explain the project. We go back to this. So I'm trying to create a CLI that is a way to validate a JWT. I'm calling this CLI JWT-CTL, and I want to use it JWT-CTL, then you pass a JWT and it receives a OIDC configuration URL. Through that OIDC configuration URL, it will automatically validate your JWT with the keys and from the OIDC configuration. And if the key is valid, if the JWT is valid, then it's going to return true. If the JWT is invalid, then it's going to return false. Pretty easy. And I'm testing ChatGPT 01 preview, which is the new model that does reasoning. That should be a little bit more performant, more advanced in terms of reasoning. I explained what reasoning is, but obviously I was offline, so I'll explain it again. Reasoning is the ability to use AI in an agentic way. So it means you can chain multiple prompts. So it's going to chain automatically multiple prompts, and that should give you better results, because that's the evolution of how it works. But we'll see if it's true. I can already tell you that I get always different experiences every time I use ChatGPT or Claude. Sometimes one is surprising me, some other times the other one is surprising me, some other times both are disappointing me. So now I just tried the prompt that I'm gonna share with you, and it was slightly disappointing because the prompt I used was this one, right? Create a Golang CLI using Cobra that reads the... Cobra is a very famous CLI tool to create CLIs in Golang. I think it's used by kubectl, and you can create a nice interface, and it's pretty good. I think for this use case, like I discovered, this is slightly overkill, but that's okay. So create a Golang CLI using Cobra that reads from OIDC config URL env variable the well-known OpenID configuration URL. When receives a JWT as parameter, it validates the JWT against using the OIDC configuration. Okay, probably understood, but it's not proper English. And returns true if the JWT is valid and false otherwise. Certainly so. I got this back. I immediately got disappointed by this error checking. So whenever we get, for example, the environment variable is not set, is empty, we're going to end up with printing false, and this is pretty misleading for the user, and we are returning OS exit 1. So now, because I worked with another operating system called OpenVMS that confused me, I never remember if it's 0 the error code or 1, the error code in Linux. Don't remember because it was the opposite in the other one. So is 1 a sorry, let's search error codes in Linux. So error codes in Linux. Sorry, it's not error codes, it's exit. Exit code in Linux. 0 versus 1. I think 0 is true. 0 is success, 1 is error. Okay, and so it's always, whenever there is an error, a syntax error or something else, is always returning false. Like for example, if we are calling the URL and the call fails, it's not that the JWT is not valid, it's that we may not have connectivity, the endpoint is not available, many reasons, but we are returning false. Not happy with this, and I'm not happy with the with the way this has been written. So what I asked in a follow-up prompt was, can you please add tests and improve the error messages? Currently, if there is an error, it's always returning false. Certainly, I've updated the Go CLI application to improve error messages and added unit test to validate the functionality. Below is the updated code and the test suite. Okay, so now let's try this. I wanted to give instruction about the test suite because I want to see if it's smart enough to create public private keys and simulate the OpenID configuration URL for the test. That would be very cool. Oh, look at this. Key. Okay, it's mocking the URL, I think. Okay. Let's see. Let's copy this first. Let's go here, paste. Now, can I build this? Okay. This time it's building without errors. Before, well, no, even before it was without errors. I was just impatient. Okay. So now if I do go run main accept one argument 0, okay, this is Cobra. Now we're passing this as an argument. Validation failed, OIDC configuration environment variable is not set. That's what we were expecting. Let's see. So we have a validate JWT function at the top. I would have organized this in a different way probably. Creating a context, calling get with the config URI, closing status okay, OIDC config URL returned, non 200 status code. Okay, we have another message here, var config struct issuer JOX URI. So we have this configuration that we use. Okay, this is the standard payload that we expect when we decode this. And you know what we can do? We can probably validate against the GitLab OpenID JWT OpenID configuration. Well-known URL. Thank you. Didn't copy it. Okay, this seems to return what we want. So we can probably leverage this in our example. Let me create a README file. So now in this readme.md, I'm gonna add this, and then I'm gonna do GitLab OIDC configuration URL, and we can store it here. I don't want to set the variable yet. I want to go through the example. OIDC configuration is missing issuer or JWKS URI. Okay, that's definitely better. So I think we need to be very descriptive in the actual prompt for what we want, or we can engage in a conversation and get multiple things. One thing is that after a while I get tired because I look at the code and then I review a completely different piece of code. For AI, it's easy to generate code, but for humans, it's hard to do in-depth validation of what they are telling us. Okay. This is standard Cobra config, which I generally find quite difficult to test in the way it's done here. And the prompt also returned the test. So let's have a look at the test. Unit test, validate JSON.go. Validate JSON, validate JWT underscore test. So I'm gonna call this go file JWT underscore test. Okay, I can run this from here. Let's see if we get any error. All the tests are passing. Now we need to see what is testing. Test validate JWT success. OIDC config issuer. So it's testing this. JWKS is creating a mock for the JWKS return. Then is saving the file locally. So it's serving the OpenID configuration. This OpenID configuration is pointing at the keys for the JWKS URI. Then it's also serving the keys. It's done what I was expecting. I'm happy with this. And then we have validate, which is our function. So, okay, makes sense. Okay, that's why I created the function to enable testing. I think it's essential to get a better design. Is always important to tell in the prompt that you want to make your code testable or that is supposed to add the test. In my experience, if you say add the test since the beginning, you can end up with something that is pretty messy. But I never try to say create a oops, sorry, brain fart. I never try the prompt where I ask explicitly for returning code that is suitable for testing, and is something I should start doing. Okay, we have validate JWT, then we have test validate JWT missing OIDC config. So we are doing one test for, so this is the happy path. And how do we validate the JWT? Dummy JWT token. Let me have a look at the function. So we receive JWT OIDC config URL, and then we inject an HTTP client. Okay. If the OIDC config URL is empty, then do a new request, then fail to fetch OIDC configuration. Okay. Close the body. If you get 200, okay. Proceed. Extract the response from the call. And then we should have another follow-up call to the keys. I don't see that. Where is it? Issuer, config, JWKS URI, keyset, OIDC new remote keyset, OIDC new remote, okay. Okay, it's passing directly to OIDC, the remote keyset. Verifier, OIDC new verifier, OIDC issuer, config, skip client, ID check true. Oh, I don't know the library, so I need to verify what this is doing. Skip. If true, no client ID check performed. Must be true if client ID field is empty. Okay. I need to review the standard because now I don't know this, but are coding this probably is not a good thing. So verifier is what we are returning. Verifier context jot. I don't understand how the keys are validated, because I doubt that this jot that we are using in the test, this jot that we are using in the test, which is the dummy jot, is, wait a second, we are expecting an error. Okay, so we are testing the happy path, but we are not the success when the jot is false, but not the success when the jot is valid. Yeah, I don't like this. I would like this to generate proper keys that can be used to encode and decode. Okay, let's see if that can be done. Okay, so it created the test, but it's a partial test, right? I want to validate. I know that in this way I'm testing a little bit the actual library that is supposed to be tested already, but I don't know. I want to see if that can be done. Can you also test? Can you also add the test for a valid jot? This will require to create a mock with actual public keys and a private key to sign the jot in the test. Let's see if it's gonna add if it's gonna add only the function, the testing that I'm requesting, or it's gonna rewrite the entire thing. Thinking. Okay. Boom. Validate JWT test. Okay. Nice is creating the actual key. Subject is a random subject. Audience, your audience. Oh, that's the other thing. We want to validate the claims as well. And we need to add the claims. Oh, that is only the function, and this is the complete test. Per function, if any other. I've been lost. Probably need to read. Certainly, to add the test for a valid JWT, we'll need to generate an RSA key pair, private and public key, create a JWT signed with the private key, serve the public key via JWKS endpoint on our test server, update the test to validate the JWT successfully. Below is the updated test code that includes a test case for a valid JWT, updated, validate JWT. Let me copy this. So we have one testing function, and then everything else is supposed to be there, remains unchanged. So explanation. Let's try. So this goes here, and then if I run this, what's gonna happen? Well, it's not gonna run because there are a few errors. Import for side effect. Do I need for side effect? Why is complaining? Optimize imports. Did remove? It's removing Go ICD, Golang JWT. Okay, let's optimize the imports first. Which means remove everything. And let's run the test. Oops. There's still an error somewhere. Pub key base 64 declared and not used. Undefined JWT. And why is not using this key? Undefined JWT. Okay, let's ask. I am getting this. Come on. Errors. Sorry. If I copy the errors, if I paste the errors, probably it's gonna be useful. I hope this updated test makes you require. Oh no, this is still thinking. Let me see. Is one of the imports a way remote needed? the error 2 is error 1. Pub key base64 declared and not used. Cost a variable is declared but not used anywhere in the code, which causes a compile time error. Solution: remove the declaration. Okay, why you graded that in the first place? That'd be my question, but yeah, why not? Okay, now we get the same with the other one. Oh, you really want me to read this? So if I don't need this, and then I don't need this. Oh. What was it doing? Encode the public key into JWKS format. Know what? Somehow I think we may need this. Let me comment for now. And then we're gonna remove the, well, we need to get this here, right? Fix missing dependency. Did it work? Try. Okay. We can run the test, but something is failing. Expected JWT to be valid, but got error. JWT verification failed. Failed to verify signature fetching. Keys OIDC can't request. First path segment in URL cannot contain colon. I think this is because we cannot sub from a port. I think this is one of the requirements we have from actual AWS. Whenever you share an OpenID configuration, your OpenID configuration must be from port 443, cannot be on any random port for obvious reasons, because otherwise, well, is it obvious reasons? It's public data. I don't know. Expected JWT to be valid but got error. Okay, let's see. First path segment in URL cannot contain colon. I think we need to run on port 80, but to run on port 80 we need admin. Now I am getting this error. I apologize for the confusion. Okay, wait. And the issues you are experiencing, the error you are encountered is due to the JWKS URI in the OIDC configuration lacking the URL scheme http:// which caused the URL. Okay, it's probably easier than we think. Without the scheme solution, ensure that all the URLs correct the code. Okay, I'm gonna replace just this. Or I can add HTTP in front of it. Where is it adding? See, adding anyway. Using server.url for issue and JWKS URI. What were we using before? Server URL is the same. Is it gonna make a difference? copy. And we want to replace just the first function. That's where I start to get tired of okay, now it seems to work. Let's inspect the code a little bit closer. Well, first of all, what was the difference between this file and the previous one? I'm gonna create a new file just to check that. Test the test. Go. Okay, it's gonna complain because the name of the functions are the same in the same package, but we don't care, we just want to compare. And to compare is Command D, I remembered correctly, but I didn't trust my memory. Okay. Do you see any difference? Contents are identical. I think I didn't. Let me navigate back a little bit. One sec. Okay, I'll copy from the prompt. I need to understand what changed. This is the bit that I copied. Okay. I need this. And I need to replace just the initial function, which is this one, right? Or more, this one too. We have big, so I think this function is not used. We can get rid of it, but the error was server URL plus. That's not an error. And OIDC is used here. Okay. Code cannot figure out what the difference is. Let's delete this. Forging a JWT using this as a key ID, then sign string private key. Sign string, we're using the private key that we created. Where did we create the private key? Here, generate key. The private key will contain the actual public key. And then we're extracting the bytes and the exponent, the two components of the key. I don't remember n, what n stands for, but e should be for the exponent. Then we are launching the server using mux for this. Issuer server URL OIDC issuer JWKS URI. Okay, so this is the actual JSON file that we return. Where are we using this JSON file? Down here, so as a response, that's what we are returning when we get this request. And for keys, we're returning this other payload, which is correct. And then we have OIDC config URL, server URL, HTTP client, server client, JWT new we claim, creating a new JWT, signed string, so we are signing the token with the private key, and then we are calling validate JWT. So we own the private key, and the service is consuming from config URL, which is localhost well-known OpenID configuration. I think the test works. We have our CLI here. Now, what's gonna happen if I do export? Okay, so let's do this first. Shell. And then we want to export OIDC config URL. Export OIDC config URL. We can call this JWT CLI, and we're gonna ask create a simple README file for this project that I will push as public repo. Let me see if it's gonna surprise us. This should be easier than writing code. A simple Go command line application that validates JSON Web Token JWT using OpenID Connect to OIDC configuration. Overview: this CLI tool reads the OIDC configuration URL, the OIDC configure environment variable, and validates JWT passed as a command line argument. It outputs a success message if the JWT is valid, or an error message otherwise. Features: JWT validation verifies the authenticity and integrity of JWT using. Okay, I want to just change the name. The name of the tool is JWT CTL. The script, the README content for the README is great, but the name of the tool is JWT. Could you please replace it? Okay. JWTL symbol command line application that validates JWK. JWT is valid. Is it returning JWT is valid when the JWT is valid? Is oh yes, it is returning JWT is valid, so it's not returning false or true. Okay, but I want that to return false when the JWT is not valid, so return error. Error. When do we fail the validation verifier? JWT verifier. So this one is not an error. I'm gonna modify this myself. Verifier, verify. Okay, wait. Oh, JWT verification failed. What do we get as output when that happens? Because in that case, I want to, if it's a genuine failure because the signature, the private key, the public key is not able to verify the signature, then I want false. How do I do that? If verification succeed, nil. So we are only returning an error. Okay. Let's clarify that. Okay, I just noticed that the function, what's the name of the function? Validate JWT. No, this is gonna mess up everything, I'm pretty sure. Okay, just notice that the function validate JWT is not returning false or true, but only an error. The CLI should return false when the JWT signature cannot be verified against the public key. Okay, just notice that the function validate JWT is not returning false or true, but only an error. The CLI should return false when the JWT signature cannot be verified against the public key. And true when and the tests accordingly. This can be lots of code. It's fun. It also decided what is the license to use. I would like to have, well, you can ask the in the prompt to get questions until the has all the elements to provide a good answer, and doesn't always work, but I tend to use that whenever I want to have more a kind of brainstorming. Okay, so now this one is returning bool, but it's not returning the error anymore. What is gonna happen when there is, okay, they missed the point. I still want the error. I told you it's gonna be a mess. Okay, I wanna close this, so I'm gonna try again. Let me modify, let me see if I add more details to the previous prompt, if it's gonna be better. Okay, just notice that the function is not returning false or true, but only an error. The CLI should return false. Okay, I confused it. The CLI should return a boolean and an error with false when the JWT signature cannot be verified against the public key, true when the verification succeeds, and error only when there is an error due to connectivity or missing parameters. Error when it falls when let's see. I'm being a little bit lazy, I have to admit, with the prompts, but it's been a long week and it's still not over. Okay, bool error, updated go main. What is this? Okay, this is what is. Let's create a separate validate JWT.go file containing validate JWT function. Okay, it's getting better at structuring the code. Then there's the main calling just Cobra in the function. I like this more. Then we have the updated test. Okay, now I need to do this validate JWT.go. Validate JWT.go. New go file. Complaining because it already exists. Main.go. It's not complaining. Let me remove this. And this. What else? The tests. So how many tests we had before? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tests. Let's see how many tests we're gonna have now. Other test functions updated to reflect. New signature. Is there a oh, this is only the main function. I think. Is it? Yeah, test validate jot valid jot, and then test validate jot invalid signature. Okay, so it only had these two. Where are the other tests? Oh, dropped. Is he expecting me to fix them? Let me go back. This one is here. Think we need to replace this with this. Then get rid of this. And these are all the other functions. We should get few errors, and we need to update the signature to get. So we expect an error. What test is this? Validate jot missing issuer, or what type of testing is this? Two things in one. Test validate jot missing issuer, or jots URI. And if there is no error, or the error is not equal, OIDC configuration is missing issue. This is the most broken type of test I've seen. It's testing the logic in the wrong way around. Let me see if he recognizes that. Okay. Let me run the test, and then I want to ask what he thinks of the. Okay, still broken. Expected jot verification to fail with dummy jot. And okay, so this is what we are expecting here is result res, and if error equal nil, so if res equal false, you can say if not res, do this, and error equal nil, and error not equal nil. So when we validate the jot, we want to get false, but not an error in this case. So expected JWT verification to fail with damage JWT. So the JWT verification should fail, and we shouldn't return an error because this one is not false. Okay, maybe. Let's try. Yay. How many tests do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still 5 tests. Oh, because he added the new one, invalid signature, I think. And what is this? Okay, I think this one is redundant. One we just fix it. It may be redundant. I want to see before we close. What do you think of this test? Your test function is well constructed and it's not mine, it's yours, and effectively tests this scenario where OIDC configuration is missing the issue field. Here are some thoughts. Correct test setup. Mocking OIDC configuration. You correctly mock the OIDC configuration to exclude the issue field. This simulates a scenario where the OIDC provider configuration is incomplete. Error handling and assess checking for suggestion for improvement. While relying on exact error messages. Okay. Can you fix it? You can parameterize the test to, yeah, I like test parameterization. Overall assessment, example of dated test with improvements. Okay. Okay, so I think I'm gonna accept this and close for today. Error missing. Now we're gonna close. I'm gonna ignore this. Save it. And I'm gonna push. And as promised, you can have a look because I'm gonna make this public on GitLab. So we can probably keep working on this in a week, next Thursdays, for another OutOfDevOps Lab. So git status, and I wanted to copy the README. Is there an updated README? I think I saw something. It's this one. Copy code. And this is open for review. So if you want to review, you know what, I'm gonna do this. If you want to review, you can do that. And add comments or raise issues against the repo. Would be interesting to see those issues in the next live streaming. Git status, git add. I want to remove this rem JWT CTL. Git status. git add, git commit dash m. Did I push? There's nothing with credentials or other stuff. Git commit dash m. Initial commit. Git push. And let's have a look at the repo. Sec. Initial commit. Oh, I pushed the idea files. Okay. JWT. Okay, very small. I think the previous one was a bit better, the previous readme. Settings, general, advanced, and how do I make it public? Visibility. Oh, can I manage who can access the project? Why? Only accessible by project members. Okay. Sorry, cannot make it public for some reason. Private project access must be granted explicitly to each user. If the project is part of a group, access is granted to members of the group. Really? What if I want to create a new public project? Can I do that? No. Visibility level. Is this a new thing? Or some strange settings? I never use GitLab. View the public access directory / public. Change project visibility. Search setting general visibility project list. Visibility setting of project must be a list as restricted visibility of the parent group. Select save changes. So I think it's due to the parent group. Do I have a public parent group? What if I change the visibility of the group? Public. Add the repos being still private? Yes. So now, as an unauthenticated user, I want to validate that I'm not publishing all my secret code. So general visibility. Now this should make it public. Save changes. Okay. So if I go unauthenticated, I should be able to see this. Can I do changes? Well, I need to authenticate. Okay, that's it. So as usual, see you in a week. Hopefully you enjoyed, you managed to follow. Sorry for skipping the first 25 minutes by talking with myself, not being live, but happens. Cool. Next thing is going to relax and start to get ready for the weekend. Have a nice Friday and a nice weekend. See you in a week. Still don't know what is gonna be the next live streaming about. But if you subscribe or if you join the lab.outofdevops.com, there is a community where I'm publishing the summary of what we are doing in the live streaming, and then publishing what is going to be the upcoming topic. Cool. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.